What's going on, fellow knife lovers? Welcome to Nice Knives. Today we are taking a look at a newer release from Kansept. This is the Kansept Raven. I believe this just dropped here in June of 2025. And this is one of the premium models. They do have several different variations of this. I do believe they're all running titanium and they're all running the same blade steel, which Kansept actually has upgraded. Since their last year's line of products, they were pretty much stuck on running S35VN. Not that they didn't have some other steels here and there, but they have upgraded their knives, guys. 20 CV blade steel is what they've been running on all their new lines this year, which I think is great. We'll see that. This is a Blackbird's design. They have several different variations of this knife here. They have the fat carbon fiber inlays. You got the Nebula. You got the Flow Party, the copper carbon fiber. You have the Damascus, and you have the Damascus with the Damascus blade. So there's a lot of options for this knife. I'll post a link in the description of where you can get this knife. It's a very nice knife. There is one thing that I got to point out with this knife, and I hate finding a con, especially on a new line of products, guys. It's kind of frustrating. It's not a deal breaker, not by any means, but it is something that I need to point out, and it's something I feel that for the value or the price of this knife, you should be aware of. There are some good upgrades, and we're going to get into that as well. It looks like now they have T8s on the body on this version, which I think is awesome. It looks also like you have a captive pivot. Got a T8 for the pivot screw. T6 for the clip, which is also titanium. It is right side tip up carry only. Titanium back spacer. Nice little lanyard coming out of the butt of the knife, or lanyard spot there. Very beautiful Damascus. I will say I do love Kansept's Damascus quite a bit. You can see it's frame locked on ball bearings, I believe. You got some very, very aggressive jimping right there on the spine of the scales. And it has a 20 CV drop point, flat ground stonewash finish blade. It's not a full flat, but you can see it's, it changes up here near the flat of the blade. Blackbird Blades is the designer, and it says Raven there towards the bottom. Very minimal. You got your Kansept logo, and you got your serial number and your 20 CV on this side right over here. So it's a very nice design lines on this knife here. I think the flow is fantastic. The way the scales just transition right into the blade. Like I say, it's a frame lock. And another thing that's really cool about this here is that there are two means of stopping the blade. The thumb studs actually act as a stop. You can see they're hitting the scales of that titanium, which I think is very cool. Very decent action. Drop shut. Thumb flicks, no problem. Reverse flick, no problem. Full 4-finger grip on this knife. Nice little sharpening choil there near the plunge grind. There is no finger choil. You could choke up on it if you really had to. It does work, so not a big deal that way. You can definitely do a choke up, but I think the more comfortable grip is just the normal grip. The one thing about this grip is kind of weird to me is that my thumb, just because I have bigger hands, but my thumb wants to rest on the spine of the knife, which doesn't have any jimping there, but you have your jimping right here, but it doesn't really do me any good because my thumb wants to sit right here, and I can just barely feel that getting in there. If I want to grip it like this, sure, I can use, take advantage of that jimping. But any other way that I hold it, it's not really doing me any good. And to be honest, it's pretty aggressive. It's got some nice, not nice, but it's got some very rough kind of edges in there. So you could feel them. So it is very, very aggressive on that jimping. The other thing here that I want to point out is that this clip here, it's sitting flush right on the Damascus. Now, it's not recessed into the scale at all. It does lay flat or flush on top of the Damascus. Brand new in the box. I noticed this thing had a slight wiggle. So I went to tighten up the knife here. These are T6, and the T8 torque bit on the body started to spin when I would spin this top T6 here. So that's telling me that the T8 and the T6, they are interconnected holding on that clip. And so for me to tighten up the clip, I had to put a T8 on this side and a T6 on this side and try to do this weird juggle, you know, with the two torque bits, and not a huge fan of that. I thought that was ridiculous. I think that it should have been recessed down inside there. Better yet, you know, have it attached on its own. Don't have it, you know, attached to another screw there, like some of these other knives. Dedicated clip area. This is completely dedicated. It's not threading into anything except a titanium, just like the Baba Yaga here. This one is on its own, independent of any body screws. Fantastic there. And these are both other concepts here. Same with this independent clip. I don't understand why this clip should have been connected to this body screw on this side. Very, very bizarre. So that's the biggest con I have. It does work. It's not going to be a deal breaker. It's just make sure that you know that you're going to have to probably use 2 torque bits to tighten up that top screw if your clip comes loose. And because it's sitting right on that titanium or the Damascus, it's probably going to come loose pretty easy because it's, like I say, it's not recessed. It's just flat on flat, titanium on titanium. So it's going to end up moving around at some point. But besides all that, it's a great knife. Like I say, you got your T8s on the body, T8 pivot, 20 CV blade steel, beautiful stonewash finish there. I think they did a great job with that. Good access to the lock bar. The action is very good. So I really like all that about it. I love how it looks. Personally, I think my favorite version of this is probably the Flow Party carbon fiber. I think that one looks pretty sick. And this one probably it'd be my second favorite here. But I think this one is super neat. I just really wish that clip was dedicated. I don't know why it's connected to body screws. Very kind of annoying, to be honest. But we're gonna get measurements. Here's the side of the box. Kansept Raven, size of the blade, 3.14 inches. Designer Blackbird blades. Model number Stonewash CPM 20 CV Blackwash. Titanium Damascus right there, guys. Inside the box, no extra hardware. You just got your paperwork, your microfiber cloth, and the normal Kansept pouch that comes with the knife there. So pretty standard there. Would be nice to have some extra hardware, especially with this clip being the way that it is. Should have had some extra screws in there. So Kansept, let's get that going, please. Measurements of the Kansept. Here we're looking at a full between 7.5 and 7.75 inches. The blade, we're looking at 3.25 inches on the blade meeting the scales, and 3.14, like it says on the box, of cutting edge here. Now the scales themselves, we're looking at a full 4.5 inches. The weight of the Raven. All right, we're guessing this one here. I'm going to guess 4.2. We're going to guess 4.2 ounces. Whoa, that was a good one, guys. That was super close that time. I was going to say 4. Threw it up to 4.2. I almost said 4.3. Regardless, 122.3 grams. There you go for that. Now let's get some size comparisons against some other knives. Very popular knife here that everyone should know about is the Paramilitary 2. The Spyderco PM2. You can see the PM2 is definitely larger, and the cutting edge is about the same on both those knives. We're going to move this one aside. Let's get it up against some other concepts that have Damascus. This is the Damascus Finrear S35 VN dedicated clip, like I like to see. Beautiful action. Here's another Damascus. This is the Damascus with the Damascus Baba Yaga here. Another dedicated clip. Beautiful knife, hollow ground. There you are for that. Now we have the Remet Peregrine Falcon. This has a little tiny smidge of Damascus, or I think that's just, actually that's not Damascus. That's just lightning anode titanium. So, all right, I lied. But we'll put it up against that. There you go. Beautiful knife anyway. Now here is another Damascus. This is Damascus Coeus, I believe it's called, or Coeus, or Coeus. Yes, the Coeus Coeus. It's a weird name. So the Cubicous right there. Bonus knife. We're going to do the bonus knife, guys. It's really fun doing the bonus knife. Plus, I get to throw another knife out here. It gives me a good reason to pull out another knife. This is the DEF CON Mako or Mako. You got your shredded carbon fiber up here on titanium. Nice titanium back spacer with like a glass breaker coming out the butt. Beautiful dark blue ano on this clip and the back spacer, which I think is awesome. Frame lock, flipper tab here. It is S35VN, the DEF CON Mako. Very cool knife, very big knife too. Let's put it up against the other guys and you'll be able to see exactly what I mean. This knife is pretty darn cheap too, guys. So if this is something that you like, I think you can pick it up for around 120 bucks. It's a fantastic deal for that DEF CON knife there. So yeah, I think that this knife is super cool, beautiful looking. I love the fact that they upgraded the blade steels from S35VN to 20CV. That's a huge improvement in the edge retention department. I think that's great. It looks like now they have a captive pivot where a lot of the concepts, you could see there's dual T8s. So this is not captive here. So it doesn't have the D shape. This one you have to use 2 torque bits to take apart, as well as this guy here, I believe. Yeah, you gotta use 2, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I don't know why it's not captive. They should always just be captive. So I think they finally did it with this one, guys. It's a captive pivot, so that's awesome. All the upgrades, great, beautiful design, beautiful knife. The jimping here doesn't really do you any good. At least it doesn't do me any good. And the clip is ridiculous. I honestly think the clip is ridiculous. That's kind of a little bit of a deal breaker for me, especially for the price. If they would have had some extra hardware in there, no big deal, because then it's like, well, if I strip out a screw, then I could just replace it. But they don't give you any, so I think that's a con. That clip should have definitely been handled there. But let's take a look real quick. Now they upgraded that from S35VN. That used to sit here at an 8, 20CV sitting up here at a 9 for edge retention. S35 is definitely tougher here at a 6 than 20CV right here. It's also at a 6, but it's slightly lower on the chart here. But on this chart, you can see CPM 20CV sitting way up here with above M390 and right below M4. So it's a fantastic steel. So it's a great thing that Kansept did that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this knife, guys. Love the Timascus, love the titanium, love the 20CV, love the new captive pivot, love the way that these thumb studs are bumping up against the titanium. But I don't like the clip, and I think that's ridiculous. Now, another thing I got to really quickly point out, not to ramble on, but flicking this knife when I first got it, I probably didn't even flick this thing maybe 30 times or so. I felt the thumb studs were starting to unscrew. So I'm like, whoa. Yeah, and I was able to unscrew them by hand. And so I had to throw them back on there and tighten them up as tight as I could. And I threw a little bit of Loctite in there because I didn't want them coming loose again. So that's another thing. The thumb studs came loose. The clip's a little wonky. Other than that, great knife, guys. So just know you're going to probably need some extra hardware with this knife. I would reach out to Kansept right away and say, hey, can I get some extra screws for this knife if you do pick it up? But those are just my thoughts. That's just my opinion. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you have any questions or comments about any of these knives here, please leave that down below and I will be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you guys have a great day, or catch you later. Peace out, people.